O God of creation, direct our noble cause.
The Lagos State government has hosted the 67th edition of the National Council on Education, NCE. The NCE is the highest policy-making body of education in Nigeria and saddled with the responsibility of considering and subsequent ratification of the recommendations from the Joint Consultative Committee on Education, JCCE plenary meeting. The 5-day meeting was held from Monday 11 to Friday, December 15 at Lagos Airport Hotel, Ikeja. The theme for the meeting is Addressing the Challenges of Policy Implementation, a Panacea for the Achievement of Education 2030 Agenda. Day one of the meeting was the opening ceremony with delegates and top government officials in the education sector in attendance.
Welcome to Lagos. Welcome to the 67th edition of the National Council on Education. We are thrilled to have you here in Lagos. This is no longer a call for show. This is a call for excellence. Lagos, the center of excellence.
Welcoming participants, the Lagos State Governor, represented by the Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Mr. Jamiu Ali Balogun, enjoined delegates to collectively articulate positive ideas towards improving education services and expand its implementation strategy for proposed reforms in the sector.
Mr. Sanwo-Olu is indeed delighted to receive you all as we jointly deliberate on critical issues pertaining to educational development of our children with the intention of providing lasting solutions to identify problems and challenges facing us. We must re-engineer and reposition our educational policies formulation, implementation, and of course, monitoring strategy in ensuring a sustainable education delivery in Nigeria.
Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education, Mr. Andrew David Adejo, expressed his appreciation to the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for accepting to host the 67th NCE meeting.
On behalf of the Honorable Ministers of Education, the management and staff of the Federal Ministry of Education, and indeed the education family, I wish to express our gratitude to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, for agreeing to host the 67th NCE meeting, and the good people of Lagos State for their warm reception and preparation towards a successful hosting. We are impressed at the large turnout of delegates, which is a confirmation of your desire to advance the education sector.
After the opening ceremony, an official session commenced with the chairman's opening remarks. This was followed by the adoption of the provisional agenda for the 67th NCR Document A. The minutes of the 66th NCE meeting was read and adopted, and this was followed by deliberations on matters arising from the 82nd Joint Consultative Committee on Education plenary.
The development of a country is basically measured by the quality of its education. So I look forward to quality decision making that will further strengthen, that will further put our education on the same pedestal as education around the world.
It's definitely going to impact in the learning outcomes. A lot of policy matters will be discussed at this level, and all those policies will actually be implemented, and it is all aimed at improving basic and secondary education in Nigeria as a whole.
Our position is we are always supporting government in achieving whatever they want to do, because we know that whatever government brought as in policy, we know that it is an achievement, and we know that it's going to be helpful to our association.
On the second day of the NCE meeting, the official session continued with the presentation of Ministerial Memorandum on the need for recruitment of Early Childhood Care Development and Education ECCDE teachers with Early Childhood Education Certificate and creation of a separate budget for ECCDE.
ECCDE to the front burner because we want to start from the scratch and get it right. And we need adequate people in terms of numbers and qualification to do that. And we need the state to fund this. And there's opportunity also for funding by UBEC through as well as their act is stated.
Other businesses raised include strategic roadmap for inclusive access to quality higher education in Nigeria and national digital learning policy. The report on monitoring the implementation of the 62nd, 63rd and 64th NCE major decisions was presented. On the third day of the meeting, participants went on a tour of sites in Lagos State.
So impressed. I'm very impressed. I've seen where government is working. This is just not an ordinary idea that comes from nowhere. It comes from planning, from perception, policy making, and other things. It shows consistency. It shows teamwork.
Initially, I did not want to come. I was reluctant. I was like, what am I coming to see? But by the time I came out, I was, wow. The first is the metro station, the train station. It is extraordinary. That is where you see tech in action. Cool air condition, everything. So I'm impressed. In fact, I wish other states will copy what Lagos State is doing.
Land that have been reclaimed from the water. The train project is so good with camera all over. And if you enter the train, you will not even observe that anything is moving on. In fact, kudos to the initiators. Kudos to Lagos State.
People need to understand what we're doing here, and the fact that you've spent the time and effort to come and see us, we're very, very, very thankful for that. We're building a brand new city, a city for the future, and it's already progressed very well.
The fourth day started with a welcome address by the Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education in Lagos, Mr. Jamiu Ali Balogun.
I enjoy you to share insights from the perspectives of your various states. Identify and embrace strategies that have yielded the desired results. Let us embrace innovation and be open to new ideas and strategies that are technology-driven and consistent with global best practice and the renewed hope agenda.
The theme of this year's summit is apt, as it gives us an avenue to co-create and collaborate towards enhancing quality of teaching and learning by providing more refined educational models and preferring lasting solutions to the challenges of policy formulation in the education sector.
The Minister of Education, Professor Tahiu Maman, called on stakeholders to identify the challenges of quality and access to education. He said policymakers must display greater courage and more commitment to their responsibilities to chart a better course for educational advancement.
All stakeholders need to dedicate themselves to their responsibilities and ensure that all programs attract the necessary resources and commitment to make the system work. To achieve this, we must identify our challenges and adopt global best practices to make our education system relevant, effective, and responsive to the needs of individuals and the country, and also enable and equip Nigerians to play their role on the international scene.
On his part, Ministry of State for Education, Dr. Yusuf Sununu, said the key plan of the Educational Reform Initiative was to address the challenges of policy implementation and explore all potential panacea for achieving ambitious educational goals.
This meeting will afford us the opportunity to rub minds on the essence of accepting implementable, problem-solving, and realistic policies with a view to making Nigeria a force to reckon with in the Committee of Nations. A key plank of the Educational Reform Initiative is to address the challenges of policy implementation and explore all potential panacea for achieving our ambitious educational goals.
Stakeholders share their views.
We have pathways to reducing the out of school and improving learning through committed approach. First of all, we have to look at increased quantity and quality of teachers, which is very, very important.
The fourth day ended with a gala night where awards were given to deserving states. The final day of the NCE meeting started with the presentation of ministerial memorandum. The proposed theme for next JCCE and NCE cycle of meetings was also discussed. Highlight of the day was the presentation of a communique.
The Council approved some major policy decisions that will guide implementation of the education sector in the next 4 years, especially the following. 1. The draft roadmap for the implementation of quality early childhood care development and education, ECCD. 2. The implementation of the Education for Renewed Hope, a roadmap for the Nigerian education sector 2024 to 2027.
For the Lagos State government, hosting the 67th National Council on Education meeting was a success as participants resolved to rededicate themselves to ensure their policies are not just fantastic on paper, but are actionable and implemented to achieve the desired results.